is up, YouTube? So today I'm giving my 5 tips for hiking in the snow/cold weather. Also got a few tips for if you want to hike Freel Peak in Lake Tahoe. So stay tuned. Alright, so welcome to my channel. On this channel I like to do exploring with my drone, hiking tips, travel tips, and things like that. So if you're into those sort of things, please hit that subscribe button. So originally this video was going to be about hiking Freel Peak, and I was just going to do some trail cam videos and give some tips for hiking it. But then once I got almost to the top, the snow started getting pretty thick, so I decided to make this video more about hiking in the snow and cold weather, just a couple of tips. Also, if you're hiking some Freel Peak, you'll get some views of what it looks like and what the terrain is kind of like, except there's snow on it, so if you're watching this and it's summertime, you might not have the best idea. But I still give some good tips about Freel Peak.
Freel Peak is the tallest peak near Lake Tahoe. We're starting from Armstrong Pass, about 2,500 foot climb, total of 9.4 miles.
So in the beginning it's very easy, and then at the very end it starts getting very, very steep.
Alright, so I'm almost done with the first mile. The terrain kind of looks like this, a little steep.
Okay, yeah, so this first part was really easy. The first part of the hike was fun, the scenery was great. Yeah, not difficult at all. I was almost going too fast. So that's about Freel Peak. Here are my 5 tips for hiking in the snow/cold weather now.
Alright, so my first tip for hiking in cold/snowy weather is pace yourself.
So yeah, my first tip is to pace yourself, and the reason I say that is because the first thing I noticed as soon as I started to get about halfway up the mountain, a little over halfway up the mountain, I was going kind of fast, I exerted myself, I started to sweat, and then as soon as I took a break and my body's temperature started to cool back down because I wasn't moving anymore, I could just tell it started to get freezing. And if I was someone that sweated a lot more, that could potentially be dangerous and put you in a situation where hypothermia situation. I was wearing a warm jacket and I had like long sleeve clothes underneath. Definitely pace yourself in the beginning. Try not to sweat, basically.
My second tip for hiking in cold, snowy weather is be very careful if you lose the trail.
Okay, yeah, so my second tip is to just basically be careful when hiking in the snow. If it's currently snowing while you're hiking, you might want to be careful how far you're going. You might lose a trail, and it's very easy to get lost on some trails. Some trails it's not. On this trail, it was very obvious in the beginning, even when there was light dustings of snow, but towards the end it started to get harder, and I was just following these footsteps. And luckily someone had gone before me, had made tracks in the snow, and I was able to follow him, and I don't think he was really even following the trail, but he found a way up the side. So the tip is just to be careful in the snow, to not lose the trail. Some people stack rocks along the way to not lose the trail. That's one thing, but it's probably just generally just a turnaround. If it's not safe, it's not safe. You wait for the snow to melt and you can hike again another day. Hikers do get lost in the snow, and there's a point between hiking and snowshoeing, and a lot of trails, hiking trails, close and are no longer open until the summer, and snowshoeing trails open in different areas for this reason. So my second tip is just be aware of your abilities and respect Mother Nature ultimately.
We're getting closer to the top. Alright, so my third tip for hiking in the snow would be to bring your sunglasses. When we started out this hike, it was gloomy out, it was drizzling a little bit, so I put my sunglasses in this pouch. Somewhere along the way they fell out. I'm really wishing I would have had those right now.
Alright, so sunglasses are always good to have, especially in the snow. I don't always wear my sunglasses for the entire hike. Sometimes I like to just take in the views without the sunglasses, but then after a while, your eyes start to get tired. but especially in the snow, it's important to have sunglasses because the sun can reflect off of the snow and it hits you in the eye. You can get snow blindness, which is it's a temporary blindness. So definitely bring sunglasses. And as you can see here, I forgot mine, but definitely something to be aware of when you're going out and hiking in the snow. And the reason you could forget is because it could start out gloomy and then end up bright once you get towards the top.
My fourth tip for hiking in the snow, I know I say it all the time, bring your poles. I would say 100% bring your poles.
Alright, so tip number 4 is bring your poles, but just in general, bring the proper gear. The snow that I was hiking in was only about 3 inches deep most at the deepest parts, so that's not that deep. I had my regular hiking boots on. I wasn't wearing snow boots. I was wearing just jeans. I had a Gore-Tex jacket, but I would say the most important thing that I had there was my poles. I love poles. No matter what hiking terrain I'm in, they just make it way more comfortable. In this case, because I was almost kind of free hiking in some spots and it was just in the snow, following in these footsteps, I was able to be much more stable in the snow when my footing wasn't the best, regardless of my boots. Like I said in the other tip, there's a line that you cross when you start hiking and snowshoeing. I wasn't at that line, but anymore I would have been at that line. So yeah, tip number 4, just bring the proper gear as far as your footing goes, so that you don't slip along the way up.
Alright guys, so my 5th and final tip for hiking in the snow would to also be bring a change of clothes. I wish I would have had an extra layer to put on when we got up there. I also didn't fly my drone. Once we got up there, the wind was just so strong. I mean, you could see the clouds being pushed off the side of the mountain there, and it was just too strong. I didn't want to lose my drone, have it go flying somewhere. There wasn't really much to see, as you could tell from the video. It was a lot of clouds. Normally you'd be able to see the whole Carson Valley, but it was all covered in clouds. You could kind of see Lake Tahoe. There's still some view of Lake Tahoe back there. But that's my 5th and final tip for hiking in the snow.
Okay, so 5th and final tip is bring a change of clothes, and that kind of ties in with the first tip of pace yourself to watch out for sweating. It's also bring extra clothes and just bring good clothes in general. Is once you start getting into those upper elevations, a lot colder than you think it's going to be.
Alright, so thanks for watching the video. Those are my 5 tips. I know there are plenty of tips out there, so if you know of any other good ones, please leave them down in the comments for someone else watching this video. And I will see you out there.
Total time took me about 5.5 hours, a little over 5.5 hours is what it took me to go all the way up and all the way back.